Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is about that time. It is time to Tony. Quick introduction. Give brief context of this gentleman that I'm interviewing today. It is Mr. Ernie Durawa, the drum roll, please. The drummer for the Texas Tornadoes. There you go. You have it, folks. What more can I say? If you don't know who the Texas Tornadoes is, it's my favorite band ever. They're a band from the 90s. They no longer exist because all the bandmates are passed. But Ernie toured with the Sir Douglas Quintet, and the Sir Douglas Quintet basically became the Texas Tornadoes. And Ernie's been drumming for 70 years. He's 83 years old. He's a musician that's been drumming for 70 years. He's a Grammy Award winning. He's played on SNL. I mean, he's done incredible things in his career, as you're about to see in this interview. Lots of cool things. And also in this interview, Murali Corryel popped in on the interview. He's Larry Corryel's son. About 50 minutes in, he starts telling sick stories about Miles Davis and Carlos Santana. So if you want to wait and listen for that, it's very cool. He was blowing my mind about some Miles Davis story, and I was like, whoa, you were around Miles Davis when you were 8 years old? This is crazy. But yeah, I mean, I got the drummer for the Texas Tornadoes. I mean, if you don't know who the Texas Tornadoes are, please look them up. It's a band that Doug Somm created. If you don't know who Doug Somm is, I love Doug Somm so much. He's the groove god, man. He's the groove god, man. He's all about the groove, man. And I will say, this is my second interview with Ernie Durawa. The first one I did with him, I guess, spread too much gossip. We were spilling the tea too much, and Ernie didn't. He didn't want to go through with it. So this one was a little dialed back. We spoke more on just Ernie's career, but we still shared stories. You know, he told me some cool Blaze stories, Blaze Foley stories, some cool Towns Van Zandt stories. You know, I mean, Ernie's worked with everybody in the business, so it was just it was an honor to sit down with the drummer for the Texas Tornadoes. So I don't know what else to say, guys. I'm very pleased about this interview. Most of you probably don't know who the Texas Tornadoes are because they're a band from the '90s, but I highly suggest you go look them up. And let me just tell you this brief little thing of history about them. The Sir Douglas Quintet was Doug Somm's band, right? That basically became the Texas Tornadoes. Now, the Sir Douglas Quintet was a British invasion band in the '60s, and it was started with Doug Somm and pretty much Augie Myers. Ernie Durawa grew up with these two gentlemen, Doug Somm and Augie Myers. Augie Myers was the first man in North America to have a Vox Continental organ, okay? And the Beatles went to go see the Sir Douglas Quintet because they wanted that quintessential Vox sound. You know, when you listen to the Doors, that bam, 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 or go listen to 96 Tears. That sound, a lot of that came from Augie Myers, who is a San Antonio legend, just like Ernie Durawa. Ernie grew up with these guys. Ernie, toured with the Sir Douglas Quintet. Bob Dylan, one of Bob Dylan's favorite bands was the Sir Douglas Quintet. This is Ernie Durawa, man. He's played with all of these guys. And it's mind blowing. He's on Time to Tony. I know no one really cares. You know, we're all listening to, hey, let's go listen to motherfucking rap music and, which I love rap music too, but just so much soul. There's so much soul that comes from these bands that you don't get as much anymore. This is real soulful, just incredible musicianship. And we got him here on Time to Tony. Enjoy the episode with Ernie Durawa. And I hope you learn a little something about music history. And I learned about Larry Corryel. I had no idea who he was. And Larry Murali told me about his dad. So maybe you'll learn that too. So enjoy the episode, folks. Love you. And please subscribe, like, do all that fun stuff. And yeah. Peace. Ciao. Bye.
Lately, a lot of my bandmates have been passing away, so that's been a little hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's 83 years old. So
Who, me?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
No kidding, man. Yeah, yeah. And sometimes I can feel it too. Like right now,
Yeah.
it's like I never, I haven't slept 9 hours in a long time, and I did last night. 9 hours, maybe one in the middle of the night interruption to use the bathroom, but for the most part, I usually only sleep about 5 or 6 hours, and then I'm up and going.
Yeah.
And I haven't done my Tai Chi yet. I do Tai Chi every morning when I get up,
Uh-huh.
and that's something I'll try to do. But I've been so tired, didn't even feel like doing that. I guess Murali's back. He's not sitting in the front porch.
Oh, should we pause it or what?
No,
No.
that's fine.
Okay. He's just chilling on the front porch?
I see him sitting out there. I guess.
Okay, cool.
That's all right. We can let him. If he walks in, he can be part of the interview here.
Yeah.
We'll ask him a couple of. Well, you can ask him a couple of questions if you want.
That'd be great, yeah. Yeah, so 83, born in San Antonio. You were an orphan, correct? Adopted?
No, not an orphan.
You were adopted by
My aunt. My aunt.
Okay, your aunt adopted you.
Yeah, yeah. My biological mother passed away when I was about a year and a half.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
So my dad took me to his sister,
Mm-hmm.
which was my aunt, who happened to have a bar, with Mexican conjunto bands playing.
Yeah.
And I lived in the back, so I couldn't help but hear that music and kind of get hooked on it. And really, started thinking, wow, this is cool. And
It was kind of like a direct transmission.
yeah, totally. So I ended up, well, they like would leave their instruments there, because they played there like 5 or 6 nights a week.
Mm-hmm.
So they just left their stuff there, and when I would go there screwing around with the instruments, and the drums were there, and I mean I messed around with the accordion a little bit and the bass, and then finally the drums, and there was something about the drums that really it felt more natural,
Yeah.
and so yeah, here it is, 70 years later, still playing the drums.
That's kind of incredible. And what part of San Antonio was this?
The West Side,
The West Side.
Deep West Side.
Deep West Side. Man,
Yeah.
so you kind of like, I feel like it was like a stroke of fortune, the guys that you kind of came up with, because and you mentioned in the book that you grew up with Doug Somm.
Yeah, I knew Doug. We met when we were all of us were like in high school and stuff.
What, did you guys go to the same high school?
No. He went to God, I can't remember what school he went to. He lived on the east side and I lived on the west side.
Okay. I hear him reference the West
I
Side. He's
forgot
got
what school he went to. I think maybe it was Sam Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
he talks about having the West Side Blues, so maybe I thought he lived on the
Oh
West
yeah,
Side.
yeah. We recorded that song called West Side Blues again.
You recorded that track with him?
Mm-hmm.
You were in the studio with that?
It's on a 40. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love
just
that
one
song.
song.
Yeah.
It was on a 45. Do you have that? Because the flip side of that was called Michoacan.
Okay.
Michoacan's a great tune. That's really
Well, this is just stuff you can just listen to all this stuff on like Apple Music or
yeah.
I was just jamming it because I'm always going to San Antonio, so I always every time I go to San Antonio, I somehow manage to play a bunch of Tornado stuff, especially like that. Is anybody going to San Antonio?
Yeah, that was
Charlie.
our opening tune when we never did concerts.
Oh, really?
He always opened with that one, and then but I think Charlie Pride actually wrote that song.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he wrote it, but he was the one that
He recorded it.
he recorded it. He was the
Yeah.
first one to record
Yeah.
it. I don't know if he really.
I don't know how that became our opener, but it did. People recognized the band with that song, like, oh, there's Tornadoes,
Yeah.
and
So when you first met Doug was in high school, and he was kind of famous at the time.
we were like kids, we were just playing around
Yeah.
town and teen canteen gigs. There was a place called the Arthur Murray's Dance Club, and we would go play there.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would go to like them playing Del Rio or something like that, and yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's hard to remember for me a lot of stuff. I mean, that happened. God, man, probably 1950, 58, somewhere around there.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
way back.
Was
Yeah.
segregation still around at that time?
Possibly, could have been. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy times, man.
That is crazy. And when did you first meet Augie Myers?
About around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your first impression when you had met Doug Salmon and Augie Myers?
Well, that's one hard to remember that far back, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I liked them. We all liked each other.
Yeah.
That was cool, and it was just we were. I don't say we were kids, but we were, I guess, teenagers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were all into music. We all just
Mhm.
wanted to play music, and there was this camaraderie that happened.
Yeah.
And and then we sort of kind of went our separate ways there for a few years, and then later on we all moved, and then they went to California, and I went to Chicago, and
Yeah,
so we
you
didn't
did
see
your
each other for
formal
a few
training in
years.
Chicago.
Yeah, I did formal training, and so yeah, and I'm kind of glad I did that because formal training, you know, helps a lot because I actually learned to play everything by ear,
Mhm.
my feel and stuff, and I'm
Yeah.
glad I did because once I mixed in the formal training, everything made a lot more sense to me,
Yeah.
and I think, to be honest, it actually made me a better player because I
Mhm.
could actually see what I'm doing.
Right.
And also, and with that, I mean, I use a lot, all that combination I've been using because I've been teaching a little bit,
Mhm.
and I love teaching, and I have students. Like I have students tomorrow, and I have some on Sunday, and it's just always good to pass on some of the information that I learned, and I studied with an amazing drum teacher in Chicago named Roy Knapp,
Mhm.
and Roy Knapp was known. I mean, he actually taught Hal Blaine, the most recorded drummer in history there.
What's his name?
Hal Blaine.
Hal Blaine.
Hal, yeah, his picture's in my book there.
I'm not familiar with it. No.
Oh, you should Google him, man.
Okay.
He played on a lot of the stuff like all the Beach Boys recordings. He did a lot of that. He
Oh,
played with
really?
Elvis.
Wow.
Uh, you know, I mean, he was like a session studio musician
Right.
in the '60s,
Okay.
and yeah, he was an amazing guy, and I was so honored that I met him. And we became good friends because we had both studied with the same teacher.
Oh, wow.
He had studied with Roy Knapp in Chicago, and then we also, he had other students. Like actually, Roy's most famous, or he was most famous drum student too, was Gene Krupa.
Okay.
Who was like, yeah, and I think he had Louis Belson studied with all these phenomenal drummers studied with Roy. So I was totally honored that I was able to study with him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and here he comes. Yeah, so and there he
What's
is.
up, bro?
This is
How we
Murali.
doing? What's
He's
up, man?
he's
Good. Doing well. Doing well.
now he's in the interview with us.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
That's all, man. We're good. All right. Uh, yeah.
To be honest, when he walked in, I was expecting a
Huh?
different looking individual. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
God. So where were we? You said formal years training.
Yeah, that was good formal training. Learning to work on fundamental training for drummers. That things that kind of build up your hands, your endurance,
Mm-hmm.
exercises like that he taught me, and a lot of time counting. And reading of some notes and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. I still work on it. I mean, it's
I mean, bro, you're banging away because
huh?
when I saw you at that Durawa Tuesdays, I was like, yo, he's going crazy. You're banging like, and I'm like, he's 80. It's really an inspiration to me because I'm like, you're 83 years old. You're still grooving. You're still, you know, I don't know. You got it still. You're still doing the thing. You should
Which
be
is
very proud of yourself.
probably why I'm wiped out today.
Yeah.
From last night. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad to still be doing it, but also, in the back of my mind, I wonder about like, how much longer do I really want to be or can be doing it? But
I mean, but
I
like,
realize it's a really big part of my life.
Yeah, it's like, what else are you gonna do? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know, and so I just have to, like I said, man, I've never. It's been a long time since I slept 9 hours.
And you slept
So
9
that
last
means
night.
I was just out of it last night. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still feeling a little bit out of it.
Yeah.
But and then I figured with all these gigs back to back, I can probably do them as long as I have those 8 to 9 hours of sleep in between
Mm-hmm.
the gigs.
Yeah.
and I mean, it's my passion. It's my passion to do what I do.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's kept me going.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna bounce back a little bit. So when you split away from Augie Myers and Doug Sound that did the Sir Douglas Quintet, right?
Yeah.
You recorded tracks with them. You
Yeah.
did a lot of stuff with the Sir Douglas Quintet.
Yeah, I've been on 2 albums. I'm not even sure they ever came up to America because they were on a
The
Swedish label.
the
Yeah,
Scandinavian
yeah,
years.
yeah. One of the albums was called Rio Medina,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one's called Lavia Europa. And
Did
I
you?
have them in there in the other room.
Yeah, I remember you showing me
I
that
showed
the
them to
last
you.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I was blown away, and that honestly, "Meet Me in Stockholm" is
yeah.
it's
Oh,
been
that
one
was
of
his big hit.
that's one of my favorite tunes lately.
Meet Me in Stockholm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really like that
he
song.
had that was a big hit he had in all of Scandinavia.
You played on that one?
I know I didn't. I don't even remember if I did or not, but I played it live with him
A lot.
when we were in tour.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a video I did play. There's a
That YouTube video where
yeah.
it's you and Augie, and then
Yeah, Larry Campbell is most
Larry
famous.
Campbell.
He's great, man.
yeah.
He's a New York.
You told
guy.
me that he played with Doug, or he played with
Larry,
Bob Dylan
Larry
a lot.
was amazing. He was also he was like Bob Dylan's musical director for a long time.
Wow.
And then Levon Helm's director.
Wow.
And now he mostly does gigs with his wife.
Okay.
They do a duo stuff. Yeah, Larry's. Yeah, I miss Larry, man. I haven't seen him in a long time, but
Yeah.
he was a big part of that quintet tour of '84 and '85 that we did.
Man, Doug would always just be around these like amazing musicians.
Yeah, he was, and I mean everybody, were inspired by Doug, and there's so many bands out there from other parts of the country that
Mhm.
they're always doing tributes to Doug song for some music and stuff.
Yeah.
We went one year and did a tribute to him in Victoria Island,
Okay.
Canada,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it was me and Doug and no, wait a minute, Doug wasn't there. It was me and Augie and Amos Garrett, this great guitarist from Canada,
Yeah.
and trying to remember all the people's names. It's kind of hard. Anyway, it was really an amazing time to do tributes, and a lot of people have been still doing tributes to Doug and stuff. And then of course in the last 5 months, we've lost three of the most brothers from the Texas tornadoes.
Yeah, it's kinda
which is kind of
crazy.
blown my mind. Like Flaco Jimenez died, and then a few months later, Speedy Sparks died, and then Speedy Sparks had actually gone and we had spoke at Flaco's memorial.
Yeah.
And then later on, I'm speaking at Speedy's memorial, which had kind of blew my mind.
Yeah.
And then we've just lost Augie too.
Yeah, that
recently.
was Augie
So
Myers.
all of that all at once has hit me really hard.
I know, man.
because,
I feel for you.
and before that, in the first run of that from the tornadoes, it was Oscar Tays. He was the most amazing bajo sexto player. That Mexican 12-string guitar.
Yes.
And then after him, then Doug Somm died,
Yeah.
and then Freddie Fender died.
I know.
So basically, when you think about it, it's
Yeah.
pretty much the whole band, except for me and Louis Ortega.
You and Lori Ortega are the
Louis
only ones.
still
that-
good.
Yeah.
He's out in California.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that has been it's wearing on me, And for the last few days, people have been sending me all these condolences and messages and
Yeah.
stuff, and like 3-4 days in a row, and there's a lot of fans, and it's still going, but I'm missing him. I'm missing all those guys, because we spent 30 something years on the road, touring all over Europe and playing in Japan and at the base of Mount Fuji.
That's incredible.
And shows around this country and stuff like that. And all of that, when I think back and I go, wow, it's all gone. They're gone. Every one of those guys are gone, Almost feel kind of like I'm lost here, like wow. It's just me now,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing stuff with other people, like with Murali and other players here in town. My buddy Matt Smith, he's an amazing guitarist. He's from New York, so occasionally I do gigs with him,
Yeah.
and stuff. So there's people I can play. But there's also a lot of gigs that in this town that I don't really care to play with.
Yeah, you're just kind of over
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes I play with Alan Haynes. He's a great blues guitarist
Uh
too
huh.
in town. So there's a few people that I like playing with in town. But then there's a lot that don't really, I don't really care. I don't really care to do those kind of gigs anyway.
Yeah.
But hopefully, my residence gig, at Donato, once they finish rebuilding that room, I hopefully want to be back there, whenever that is. I don't know if it'll be April or May, but whenever it is, hopefully I'll still have the endurance and stamina to go back and do it.
Mm-hmm. When did Doug and Augie both go to Hyatt Ashbury, or was it just Doug that went there?
I don't remember, honestly. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I knew Doug was there, and I don't know if Augie was.
Yeah. Um, and when did you like reconnect with because you cut a lot of tracks with the Sir Douglas Quintet, but when because you went out to Chicago, when did you come back to Texas?
Uh, let's see. There was I came back twice.
Mm-hmm.
I came down because there was that World's Fair going on in San Antonio called
Mm-hmm.
Hemisphere '68. So I came back in '68, but then I left after that was over. But during the time that I was in San Antonio doing that, I met a Sergeant Parker, who was a booking agent. Sergeant. He was in the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
and he came up and he said, "Hey, look, and I don't even know how he got my name or what, but he was looking for a rhythm section to back up some of the acts that he was booking.
Mm-hmm.
So he booked me to go and tour with this really famous comedian George Gobel.
Oh, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a picture in that book. And yeah, I was like, wow. But I used to watch him on Johnny Carson show, and he had other TV shows. Really, really famous comedian. So yeah, we toured with him, and I remember we had two Lincoln Town Cars, and it was mostly a tour of military bases
Mm-hmm.
because Sergeant Parker, right? So we played here. The airport here, Bergstrom, was actually Bergstrom's Air Force Base before it became the actual airport.
Oh, word, really?
It was the Air Force Base, yeah. And then we went up to Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and the bases in San Antonio and the ones in Wichita Falls, and so it was all military bases with George, and we had some fun times with him, and we got to this little town, the state line of Texas and Oklahoma, and we were trying to get to Fort Sill, and
Mm-hmm.
it was snowing real bad, and there was a big semi truck blocking the road, and so we couldn't get through. So we went back to Vernon, Texas. I remember this little town called Vernon, Texas, and everybody was really hungry, and we found this restaurant called Shepherd's. I still remember that name, Shepherd's Restaurant, and so we said, well, how are we going to go in here with George, and everybody's going to recognize who he is, and this and that. So we went in and we looked for the manager, and the owner came out, and we said, "Ma'am, do you have we have George Coble out in the car, Then went, do you have a partition in your restaurant where we could come and bring him in, and so everybody could get some food?" And she yelled out, "George Coble in my restaurant!" Like, "Oh, please, keep it quiet," And so she did. She set up a thing for us, and we went out and got George, and he put his shades on and his trench coat, but his little flat top kind of gave him away that who he was. But anyway, we snuck in there. We all sat down, and
Flat top. He was a black man.
no, he's a white guy.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, his people started coming out, like the kitchen guy stepped in, they were sneaking around the side, and
Mhm.
word got out really fast that he was there, right? And then in about an hour later, the local TV station guy came
Oh
with
my
a camera,
god.
and it just got away.
Just
And
blew
I
the
said,
spot up,
I
huh?
said, I think they know you're here, George. And then at that point, he didn't care. He was like drinking. He's like, "Yeah, I'll get some food here, feed everybody." And so we all ate, and I remember that's the other thing. We had to find a place to stay that night, and and it wasn't a very luxurious place. I remember that, but we spent the night there, and then the next day we were on our way to Fort Sill. So I did that, and then came back, and he said I have another tour, and so he got us hooked up touring with Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
You remember him?
No, I don't know who Tiny Tim is.
Oh, he was. He sang that song "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." He was a pretty funny guy. Anyway, we did some sort again a military based tour with him.
You got to forgive me. I'm 28, so
Yeah.
even
Well,
when Hey Baby K
yeah, that's
Paso
right.
came
You
out, I
wouldn't
wasn't
remember.
even.
You're too young.
Yeah.
And other people like that. We did some touring with Jack Carter,
Mm-hmm.
which is another stand-up comic, and a bunch of stuff like that. And then after that,
What
I
the hell were
decided,
you doing on stage? What would you? Because I
huh?
mean, I do stand up, so like, what are you doing? Like a lot of rim shots?
Yeah, yeah, just the punchline, but that kind of stuff. Yeah,
That's crazy.
well, actually, George played. He yodeled and he played guitar.
Oh, okay. So and then
And,
there was
yeah,
also like,
yeah, we kind of backed him up. It was just
wow,
me and another guy.
was it good paying gigs?
Yeah, it was pretty good. And then after that, I just said, okay, I'm out of here. I'm going back to the Midwest. And then I ended up going up there. So yeah, I had some fun gigs and froze my butt off in Chicago, but
Chicago's real cold, man.
and I had a gig playing at the Playboy Club there, and
What's a Playboy Club?
huh?
What's the Playboy?
See, you were too young. You don't remember Playboy Club? Remember Hugh Hefner?
Oh, there was a Yeah, I'm familiar with the Playboys. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the Playboy bunnies.
right.
Yeah, so you had a Playboy Club there.
We played there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's the first thing they told us is just don't mess with the money. It's no, I'm just playing my gig.
Does this have anything to do with like? Because I remember there was a Playboy show where they would showcase
Yeah, they had
music.
shows like that.
Was it at the
No,
Playboy Club?
I don't know where those.
Okay,
Are.
okay,
Probably out in the
California.
mansion that was in his mansion, Playboy Mansion. I think was in Hollywood or L.A. or somewhere out there.
Okay.
Yeah, but the club he had there, and then we went up to play the Playboy Resort in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And then after that, uh, but the Playboy gig, I was playing. I met this guy named Eddie Picard from Cedar Rapids, and he's the one that hired me to play those Playboy gigs. After that, we came back into Chicago, and that's when I met Roy Knapp, the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I met his son first, and then pretty soon met Roy, and so I started studying with him, about 2.5, 3 years almost. And yeah, it turned my whole life around. It really opened up a lot of things that it was a guessing game before then, but that opened up a lot of stuff. And
And you were like 30 years old at the time.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, about around that time. And then
And
after that,
what time frame is this? Is it like the 60s?
yeah, no, this was like in the 70s, right after, right, yeah, like early 70s.
Okay, so you weren't really. Were you in Austin when there was like the big Austin boom here? Like in mid 70s.
That's when I came back down. Yeah, I came back here in the late 70s.
Late 70s.
That's one reason I came because I kept hearing about Austin, and then, they kept calling it a new Nashville or something.
Yeah.
And Doug was here, and he actually invited me to come down. Said, hey, you need to come to Austin. And I was ready to leave Chicago anyway. I couldn't take the winters anyway. But for a while there, when I came back to Chicago, and after those gigs, I met Isaac Cole, and Isaac Cole was Nat King Cole's brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was a great jazz pianist and singer also, and he sounded a lot like Nat King Cole. And so I started doing gigs with him, for a while up in
Wow.
Milwaukee and in Chicago and stuff. We played in the Sears Tower,
Wow.
and stuff like that. And then one thing led to another, and pretty soon I was gone, and I moved back to Texas, and my mom was getting up in age, and I wanted to be close to her.
Yeah.
So I came to Austin, and I'm still here. Yeah.
What was
But
it?
then you see a lot of cool things happen when I came here because I started. Doug was here, and I did a few gigs with him, and then one night we were playing a gig, and our bass player that night was Chris Etheridge, who was the original bass player for the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Okay.
And so he told me, he said, hey, Delbert McClinton is playing across town,
Mm-hmm.
and I heard he's looking for a drummer and a bass player.
I'm sorry. Who is Delbert McClinton?
Really?
Yeah. I'm really.
Well, Delbert McClinton is one of the most amazing blues singers out of Fort Worth.
Okay.
Uh, that he's living in Nashville now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you need to know who he is, man. He's an amazing blues singer.
Okay. I love the blues, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, you would love Delbert. Yeah.
Okay.
But he's a year older than me. I think he's like 84. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what he's doing right now. I know he does the blues cruises and stuff like that. But anyway, I met him and we went over and met him and he asked me to sit in and stuff and we exchanged numbers and stuff and then a few months later he called me and said he's coming back to Austin to play and so I played with him again and then after that he asked me to go on tour with him
Yeah.
and so we did. We went on tour and then the band was an amazing band. I'm telling you, man. We got to New York. We're playing at the Lone Star Cafe.
Oh, I love the yeah.
And I looked in the audience and John Belushi was there and Bette Midler
Oh
and
my
all
God.
these they'd heard about this band, right? And Dan Aykroyd, all these people were there,
Yeah.
in the audience. It's like, holy man, I couldn't believe it. Jimmy Buffett, all these people.
Jimmy Buffett?
He was there, yeah.
Really?
So anyway, and they all got up on stage and stuff, and so about that time.
Wait, so Jimmy Buffett, John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd are all on stage?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. There's a photo of that somewhere.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't see me because everybody's standing in front of me, but you might see my arms.
Yeah, because you're
sticking out.
always in the back.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
always in the back. Yeah, I'm used to that. But
Just
anyway,
like a brother.
so and so we got invited to do a Saturday Night Live, right? And that was Delbert's second time to be on it. I didn't do the first one, but I did do the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And we went and did that, and Bill Murray introducing us and stuff. It was really cool. I met some of those cast members like Eddie Murphy and
No way.
some really cool people there.
That's
and,
sick.
And then the next day, we were on a plane flying to L.A. to do another show called Solid Gold with Dionne Warwick,
Okay.
that was really a fun show too. So all of that, and then we came here. We did Austin City Limits with them with Dilbert, and
Delbert has an Austin City Limits?
we did one, yeah.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Oh yeah, and you probably can. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, they
Easy.
usually always
Yeah.
are. So you've done multiple Austin City Limits then?
I've done 3 of them.
3 of them.
Yeah, one with him and 2 with the Tornadoes.
The Tornadoes did 2?
2 of them, yeah.
I only can see 1.
Yeah, I know, and I can't. The first one that we did, it's. I haven't been able to find that one. I have only found like a cut or 2 off of it,
Wow.
and on that first one, I think I was the first drummer ever in the history of ACO to play a drum solo on it.
Really?
Right? Yeah. Because your drummers don't get to do that on a show like that. But we used to do it to close the show out sometimes. I would do a drum solo like I did in that video.
With Joe
of us
Wheeler.
In Montreux. Yeah, with Joe
Yeah.
Ely.
Yeah, Joe
Yeah,
Ely.
that one that was in Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. But so I did one on Austin City Limits, and I would toss the sticks out in the audience, and Freddie Fender's like, "Oh man, you can't do that. You're gonna poke somebody's eye out." I said, "Yeah, you're right." He said, and so
Quit being
so
a
I
baby,
did that
Freddie.
solo on that show. Of course, it got edited out. They didn't put it on the video. It edited
Lame.
out the solo. I know.
Lame alert.
And I wasn't surprised, but I remember the producer went, "Oh man, you didn't hurt anybody, right?" I said, "No, but
When you say
people
producer,
were fighting over the sticks, though."
you mean that guy with he had like kind of he's like a ginger with an afro?
Who?
The producer of Austin City Limits.
I can't remember his name.
I've seen the documentary and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of all over. He's been doing it for like 50 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's crazy. You have really you ever just look back at your life and you're like, dude, I did so much. This is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I know, man. It's still going too. but,
No, I know.
I'm not sure how much. Sometimes I wonder about it, but
I mean, bro, just keep pushing. Who cares?
I'm
I mean,
just trying to hang in there as much as I can.
yeah, I hear you. I feel for you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, We have lost. I don't know how I came across the tornadoes. I came across them on a YouTube an Austin City Limits YouTube. It was Wasted Days and Wasted Nights.
Yeah.
And I saw Freddie Fender, and I was like, "Who is this?" He had, to me, was kind of like a goofy voice at the time, but now to me, I think he has one of the best voices
Oh yeah.
in music, and I just became obsessed with the tornadoes, and then
Who did?
I did.
Oh, you did.
I
Okay.
became obsessed with them, and then I came across the Sir Douglas Quintet, and then my friend Hank Garza somehow had knew about you, and he told me, he's like, get a hold of Ernie,
Huh.
and so I was trying my hardest to get a hold of you and Augie, and I had gotten in contact with Augie's, I don't know, handler or something, and he had just been bedridden for however long, and obviously, he doesn't really want to do an interview like that. But then, here I am with you, and kind of blows my mind. It's because when I saw your live show, the Durawa Tuesdays, I could recognize your drumming, when you end the song.
Yeah.
The way you would end it would be the same way that you ended songs like in Hey Baby Que Paso or Wasted Days and Wasted
Right.
Nights.
Or Adios Mexico.
Adios.
That one's got a lot of
Yeah.
drum thing at the end of it.
Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, because when I saw you in Durawa Tuesday, I'm like, yo, because I would listen to the songs. So
I don't know
much.
if you've seen this cowboy guy he's a Tornadoes fan.
Charlie Kirk or
No,
Charlie Crockett.
Who?
Charlie
No, I
Crockett?
know Charlie Crockett. He's a great friend too. No, not him. I'm talking about this other guy that he's just he's not, I don't think he's even a professional. He's just singing the tornado songs because he loves the tornadoes a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you later. It's just really funny videos of him.
Wait, you know Charlie Crockett,
I think his name. Yeah, I know Charlie.
the young guy?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you
Yeah,
meet him?
because I ran into him one day when I was walking around the neighborhood,
Uh huh.
and I think he was living in my hood here for a while. This is before he exploded and made it huge,
Wow.
And we started talking to him. He's a really nice guy, super nice guy. And so we was talking and stuff, and then after he made it, I ran into him at a Mexican restaurant again, and we had some photos. I have some photos with him. I'll
Oh,
show
wow.
you. And he gave me his phone number and his cell phone and all that kind. We just talked for a while.
He's a
And-
big fan of Freddie Fender.
And then yes, that
San
was
Benito.
part of it. He's a big Tornadoes fan, and big
Yeah.
fan. He's from the same town, I think, of Freddie Fender.
Yeah, San Benito.
Yeah, San Benito, and yeah, he was big friends with Augie and everybody. He's a super nice guy, super nice. I love that guy, and I thought someday, well, maybe I should tap him for a gig or something. But I went, no, man, I can't tour anymore. My touring days are pretty much.
Or just
There's
done.
no, and I mean, his schedule was amazing. It was an incredible schedule with
I
him.
feel like he'd love to have you out.
There's no way I could do that gig.
I mean, just to do one with him though.
Well, I could play one or two gigs with him, but I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't tour. My touring days are, I mean, I toured, with Tornadoes. We even with the quintet, we were all over Europe pretty much in 2 years anymore, like in '84 and '85.
Were you with them when the Augie talks about how his Vox, because he was like the first guy, and he
That what?
claims to be the first guy in North America to have a Vox Continental organ. Augie Myers. That's what he would always say in interviews.
Yeah. He was, and he was known for that Vox organ. Yeah.
Didn't the Beatles come and see him?
Yeah, somebody asked him from the Beatles about it or something. I don't know the full story, but
He says that Paul and George.
I think so.
They went to go see him when they're doing something. And
I think they wanted to know how he got that sound or something.
wow.
But he had a way of doing the way he played triplets with his hand, on a keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
He had his own style of doing it. It was pretty amazing.
He wasn't like music or classically trained either.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, he did some solo stuff that sounded really beautiful that he sang,
Yeah.
on our shows. He would just play a solo thing. It sounded like he was classical trained, but
Yeah.
I don't know his
Yeah.
whole history. And I'll tell you, I love the guy, and I don't know. It's just really hard to think all my brothers in the band are gone. I mean, I just kind of like I'm still trying to process that right now, and I'm just trying to keep my head up and just say, okay, well, that's part of life, I suppose.
Yeah, the weird thing with death is, because my mom passed away in June.
Your
It's
mom?
like my mom, yeah. And she was kind of young, honestly, 61. And the grief of it has kind of hit me really hard the past, like, like kind of now. And it's weird. Death is strange because it's like the only thing we're guaranteed, but it still kind of surprises us, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's like the only thing
Yeah, I know, man.
we're supposed to do
So
in this
many
life is
people
really die.
lately, you know, friends, a lot of friends and people, and every time I look at somebody that's gone, I don't know, a lot of people passing away, and uh, we don't know what lies ahead. We
Yeah.
just hang in there. I pray a lot about it.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm glad to be doing what I'm doing, and I have a few students that come over and
Mm-hmm.
I teach and pass on some ideas that I have, and it's nice. It's nice to know that some students still want to learn some fundamental stuff that I learned in Chicago.
Of course I do.
And I think it helps them.
Yeah.
It helps them a lot, and but it doesn't. Uh, so some of the students, they have to realize that there's no shortcuts to becoming a great player. It takes years of practice and really, I tell them three things they got to have. They got to have perseverance. You got to
Mm-hmm.
persevere. You want to learn to play an instrument,
Yeah.
and they have to have determination
Mm-hmm.
to be determined to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is patience. They have the patience because if something doesn't come out and they're practicing, they sort of don't want to give up right away. It's like, no, man, just be patient. Just keep working at it. Be determined and persevere,
Mm-hmm.
and you might succeed. I mean,
Yeah.
you will succeed.
Yeah.
And even as long as I've been doing it, I still practice.
Mm-hmm.
I practice the stuff that I learned, and because I'm trying to keep my chops up.
Well, the chops are still there for you, man.
There were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're still there. I mean, I did. That could be what happened last night. I played kind of hard, and that's why today I'm just kind of a little tired from it.
But he's just going at it.
So I slept 9 hours.
Yeah.
I never sleep 9 hours. It's unheard of.
I actually got some decent sleep last night too.
But I'm hoping that, the show. See, we had to travel then, so there's no traveling today. We just go up to North. If you're around tonight, you should come and listen to it.
I fly back to Orlando tonight.
Huh?
I fly back to Orlando tonight.
Are you going to Orlando?
Yeah.
That's where you live, right?
That's no. I live in Austin,
Mm-hmm.
but my hometown is Orlando.
Gotcha.
I got a lot of gigs I'm doing in Orlando.
Well, his dad
Mm-hmm.
was living in Orlando.
Oh yeah,
Murali's dad.
Murali's a dad.
That's where he's living at.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
His dad's still around?
No, he passed away a few years back.
Oh, okay. Man, so we're getting to that 40-minute mark. I really want to ask you about I don't know, some like well, one, I like to speak on a little bit on Flaco Jimenez and maybe what he was, because he's a guy that I don't know. You get to talking or interviews with Flaco, like he didn't. I mean, he spoke English, but not that great. He didn't. I know, he seemed like a very reserved guy. What was Flaco Jimenez like? And he's also like this like San Antonio icon
Total icon, yeah.
for being like this.
I heard. I don't know if that's going to still happen. They were supposed to build a statue for him in San Antonio.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I hope they do.
How the hell did he connect with? I mean, Doug would just always play with him, and then he connected with the.
I don't know.
Tornadoes?
Doug knew him.
Yeah.
Somehow he knew those guys. Because Sir Douglas Quintet really the Tornadoes kind of basically the same band.
Yeah.
But then he added Flacco and Freddie to it, and it became that. Well, they did their first gig in San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and with those guys, and there was a line like 2 blocks around the corner at this place called Slim's
Really?
in San Francisco. I think that was Boss Skaggs Club,
Okay.
and that's when Doug said, "Hey, I think we have something here, man," because people just went, "Wow!" Look, and it became one of the first super groups, to
The Texas Tornadoes.
yeah.
And Freddie
Yeah.
Fender was definitely the.
But he didn't call it that. He called it like the Tex-Mex Review or something like that.
Yeah.
But everybody knew Doug as the Texas Tornado, and
Yeah.
then he used that name, and yeah, it was awesome, man. And then everybody wanted Flacco, like Dwight Yoakam got him on one of his records. And,
Yeah, and he also had him on
Ry
Lost.
Cooter. went around looking for him and found him. And he ended up playing some stuff with him.
Shit, the Rolling Stones got him
Yeah,
on.
yo, that Rolling Stone story is amazing. I don't know how that connection happened, but
Yeah.
I know that they wanted him to play some kind of thing, uh, uh, like some stuff for a record they were doing,
Uh huh.
and so he goes, he's got there and he goes, let me Flacco goes, let me hear what your song that you want, my accordion on. And so he's like, they played it, and he's rehearsing it,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he's done rehearsing, he goes, okay, I'm ready to cut it. And then that's either Mick Jagger or one of those guys said, oh, we're cool, we got what we needed. So
He's
they
like,
were rolling the tape while he was practicing,
okay.
and they got what they needed. They like that. They immediately loved what he was doing.
Wow.
And then he goes, "Hey, you guys are sneaky, man." But and I listened to it. It's on that album called
Something voodoo.
Voodoo Lounge. Yeah,
Voodoo Lounge. Yeah, I
yeah, it's
listened
on
to
that
it too.
album,
Yeah.
and it sounds great.
You put me onto it because I was like, what? No way. And I looked at the view
Yeah,
credits, because I
yeah,
see him on there.
yeah,
Um.
man. He's amazing. Flacco is an incredible genius
Yeah.
musician. And there's this other kid. I call him a kid, Dwayne. Uh, I can't pronounce his
Is
last
he the white
name.
guy?
He's a Dutch kid. Yeah,
Yes.
white guy.
Yes. That I.
He's from Holland. He called me the other day. He still now there's a guy that he learned everything, almost a lot of licks of Flacco's accordion licks,
Mm-hmm.
and like he learned how to speak Spanish fluently.
Yeah.
He married a gal from Mexico.
Yeah.
He's like really into the culture.
Yeah.
And he called me the other day because he heard about, Augie dying and stuff. So, yeah, and Dwayne actually he did a couple of gigs with the Tornadoes too. And wow, man, it blows my mind when I think there's this kid from Holland. He's a Dutch kid. He speaks, of course, yeah, he speaks his language, Dutch. He speaks English and he speaks Spanish, three different languages. And he's amazing. He's an amazing player. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
When I bought my accordion, I bought a Diatonic 31 button accordion in San Antonio from a guy off Facebook Marketplace, and he's like, "Why are you buying this accordion?" Because he sees some like goofy white guy buying an accordion,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a huge Flacco Jimenez fan. I love the Texas Tornadoes."
With the button accordion. Sure.
Yeah, and he's kind of like shoots me these wide eyes, and he's like, "What?" And then we're like just like spitting facts about the Tornadoes back and forth to each other, and then he puts me onto that guy. He told me about the guy from Holland.
Right, Dwayne?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah.
And he does. He plays licks just like Flacco. Yeah,
Oh,
you're
he's
right.
incredible.
Yeah.
Totally Dwayne. Yeah. And you know what? He's a super nice guy. And yeah. Actually, when I went to San Antonio, we spoke, me and Speedy,
Mm-hmm.
we both spoke at Flacco's Memorial. And Dwayne, he flew in from Holland for that.
Oh wow.
He was there, yeah. And
Um.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
there's the other guy too, Josh Baca. They have that group Tex Maniacs.
Yeah.
And Josh plays a lot like Flacco. He's got a lot of cool licks to him.
And then you got Matt. Is that Max's brother?
Max, yeah, Max. They're like related.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug Sahm, man. What was he like? Because everybody
Doug?
people would say that he's like this. He could speak a million miles a second. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
Mark Erline would talk about him coming into like the guitar.
Well, he was just like another. They used to call him the walking encyclopedia of Texas music
Yeah.
because he could play. And we're all a little bit like that. I mean, not. I'm not like that much, but we all like to play a lot of different styles of music.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He had a country band, he had a blues band. He created. He had a Tex-Mex band.
Would he talk about sitting on Hank Williams' lap?
What?
Because there's that story of Hank Williams.
When he sat on his lap.
Yeah. Would he ever talk about that stuff?
No, he never did. But I saw those photos.
Yeah.
And
It's
they're
kind of
really
nuts.
cool. But I saw him. As a kid playing the steel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he could play the fiddle really well.
Yeah,
and
he
the
could.
guitar and Doug was a genius, man. He was really
And to me, he never gets his flowers. Like
I owe him so much uh, of my career that's happened to me
yeah.
through him, because he was an inspiration, and he was only 1 year older than me, but there was a lot of stuff that we had in common,
Mm-hmm.
and he loved jazz.
Mm-hmm.
You could get up and sing a jazz tune, but he could turn around and he could do straight country music
He was
just
just
as good as
he could
anybody.
do everything. I
Yeah,
mean,
he could just do anything. Yeah.
his albums are very vast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many people out there. Like, well, Bob Dylan said that. Bob Dylan. They asked him, who was like his favorite band or something. He actually said Sir Douglas Quintet.
I know. Yeah, that's in
You seen
that
that?
documentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love hearing him say that. Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
that's at the San Francisco convention, and this is like when Bob Dylan's like getting really big, and he does say the Sir
Right.
Douglas Quintet.
And so, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of other people that said the same thing.
Yeah,
They were inspired by Doug
yeah.
and his, the tunes that he wrote. And there's a lot of people that do, they play his tunes all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still going. And yeah, I mean, he was awesome, man. And we used to have this little service here at my house. And he would come and play gospel piano.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
he also could do that. He could play gospel piano. And he'd sing all these gospel tunes and stuff. And
He was a sweet guy.
huh?
Was he a real nice guy?
Oh yeah, Doug was beautiful, man.
Yeah.
We were very close. Me and him were very close.
Yeah.
All those guys, we. I can't imagine myself touring with a different bunch of guys, that I don't know that well.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're touring, you have to love the guys you're touring with, because you're basically living with them,
Right.
You're like a family, and there could always be possibilities of personality conflicts, things
Mm-hmm.
like that, but we never had that.
Yeah.
We were like a whole family, we could say whatever we wanted to say. We could insult each other, or we could just say, I love you.
Yeah.
Either way, no, it's no problem, because we just, we're a family,
You guys jived real well.
Yeah.
And when you remember how Doug he rented like this mansion, in the mid-70s, over by the Soap Creek Saloon. Did you ever go to that mansion?
Yeah. At his house up on the hill,
Yeah.
off of Bee Caves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Nick Potowski talks about it in interviews. What was that mansion like?
Well, it wasn't really a mansion.
It wasn't a mansion?
It was a big, huge house.
It was a big,
it had
huge
a lot
house.
of rooms in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would, I mean,
Yeah, it was cool. I mean,
did you play up at Soap Creek Saloon?
yeah, I did. I played
Yeah.
Soap Creek Saloon. Yeah, there was one time that 1 week I played with him there, and then the following week I played with Gatemouth Brown,
Oh yeah.
and then the following week I played with Delbert McClinton.
Oh my goodness.
So that's why the owner, there, George,
Yeah.
one day he said, "Hey, what are you, the house drummer here or what?" I said, "No, I just got booked that way. I just happened to play with 3 different artists in 3 different weeks.
Yeah.
That was a cool place, man. Soap Creek Saloon was, I mean, that was when I first came to Austin. That was the happening place, And yeah, Austin's not like it used to be anymore. It's a wholly different city now.
It still kind of blows my mind.
Like,
But
I don't even go downtown. I don't recognize when I go downtown.
yeah, it totally probably does look different.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Nick would talk about that because I ride my bike to Doug's Som Hill all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, and he always talks about, he's like, if Doug was to stand on that hill, he would look at like this city he wouldn't even recognize.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's all these buildings, and he's like,
Yeah, he was like the kingpin of Austin music.
Yeah, it's funny
in the
that
early days.
everyone grabs onto Willie.
Well, Willie was too. I
But-
mean, after Willie came, they both were together.
But they talk about like when Jerry Wexler came to Austin, he was seeking Doug Som, but then he somehow ran into Willie,
Yeah.
and he signed. But those Willie Nelson and Doug Som were the first 2 people he signed on.
Yeah.
At Nashville, whatever that Mercury Nashville or whatever that record label was.
Oh,
But
did you see that record? They did it with Dylan and all those guys, and they had Dylan and Flacco and
yes, the Doug Som and Friends.
Is that the name of it? Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that was,
Did you
yeah.
play on that record?
No, I didn't play on that.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I would have, though. That would
Yeah.
have been fun.
Dr. John and
Yeah, Dr.
Bob
John was
Dylan.
on it, and George Raines was playing drums.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I can't remember. Oh, the sax player.
Rocky Morales?
No, not Rocky. The jazz guy. I'd have to look at the album. Big name jazz cat, you know.
Yeah, that was a huge album.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great album.
Yeah.
I wish I had a copy. I bet that's hard to find now, isn't it?
It's probably, I have one of your guys' albums, the Los Texas Tornadoes, this Hispanic one, the
Yeah.
one that's all Spanish. It's about $105 for a record.
That record, I think, is it the first one? Because I heard the first record, that one we did, went gold in Mexico.
Oh, yeah?
And it should have gone gold here and probably did. I never got my gold record. I wish I had, but I
Yeah.
heard it was a gold record.
Yeah, you guys won Grammys.
And I played on the one track that won the Grammy
Mhm.
from that first record
Mhm.
called Soy de San Luis.
Mm-hmm.
That was the track that won the Grammy, and that was my track, which is cool because
Who
there were two other drummers on it.
who wrote Soy de San Luis?
Huh?
Was that Flaco's
Oh,
dad?
who wrote that? I think it was Flaco's father.
Yeah, Santiago Jimenez.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
wrote it.
Who created Cajunto music? Is this true?
Well, there were a lot of guys back there, and I guess I don't know. That's probably before my time.
Yeah.
You know,
He talks about being, I don't
he
know.
was definitely one of the big innovators of
Yeah.
that music. Yeah.
Freddie Fender, man.
Yeah.
That's a real cat that's like, he was kind of like a guy in the group that was, he's probably the most famous in the Tornadoes, correct?
He was, yes.
What was it like playing with Freddie?
It was fun, you know,
Yeah.
playing with Freddie. I remember one time, there was times that they would confuse me for him. They thought I was Freddie.
You did have a little bit of
Yeah, I
similar
had
haircut.
that hair like that. And not only that, one time we were like playing in a casino
Mm-hmm.
in Mississippi, and he would say, "Hey, carry one of my guitars," you know, because he had a couple of guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm walking around with this guitar, and of course the guitar strap says Freddie Fender. And these blue-haired women stopped me, right, because they thought I was Freddie. Ah, it's Freddie Fender. Can we have our picture with you? I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not Freddie. It says it right there, the guitar strap, Freddie Fender. I said, yeah, I know, but I'm just helping carry his guitar. He's over there somewhere. No, you're Freddie Fender. You're just trying. They thought I was trying to dodge him. Right?
Jesus Christ.
So I went ahead and posed for the photo with them. you
Yeah.
know. And then later on, they actually saw the real Freddie Fender, right? And then I finally went up to him. I said, "Man, I'm sorry that you thought I was Freddie Fender. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to waste your film,
Yeah.
because back then they didn't have these phone cameras." And they went, oh, yeah, like that. And that's funny, man. I said, Freddie,
That is funny.
and I know we were going through. It's a funny story. We were riding in a car one time. We were going through the border check in San Diego,
Mm-hmm.
and he was sitting in the back seat. I was with him, and I forgot who was driving and who was in the front seat. It might have been Augie, somebody. And we're coming out to the border check, and Freddie goes, "Let me do the talking," like that, So
Are you sure, Freddie?
yeah, so we pull up, right, and he sticks his head out. He goes, the border guy comes up,
Yeah.
and he sticks his head out. He goes, "Hi, I'm Freddie Fender," and the guy goes, "Open the trunk."
With his kind of heavy accent too, you know.
Yeah, you open the trunk. I think they might even say, "Get out of the car" or something, So I think
Let me do the talk.
we're talking about Freddie Fender here.
That's one of the best stories ever.
Yeah.
they
that's
open
a
the
good-
trunk.
Let me handle it?
Yeah, that one.
Were
Let
you
me
in the Were you in the car?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I heard this
No, he said, "Let me do the talk. Let me do
Yeah.
the talking." Hey, listen, he's from Orlando. Didn't your dad live in Orlando?
Here. Quick spot.
This was my dad's third wife,
Yeah.
and they, actually, with his second wife, they had moved to Vero Beach.
Yeah. Who is your dad again, by the way?
Larry Corryel,
Larry Corryel.
known
Okay.
as the Godfather of Fusion.
Okay.
He, I was held by Jimi Hendrix when I was a baby,
What?
and we lived with Carlos Santana when I was 1 year old.
What?
And I was named by the same guru that named him, and Miles Davis. On my 10th birthday,
You met Miles Davis.
on
Wow.
my 10th birthday, he was at our house in Westport, Connecticut, and he was snorting cocaine. And my mom said, "Hey, Miles, it's Murali's birthday," and he said, "Hey man, it's your birthday." I said, "Yes." And he took the $100 bill that he was snorting the coke with,
Yeah.
and he gave it to me. And he said, "Happy birthday." I'm getting chills as I think about it.
That's
Because
insane.
Also at that time was Bernard Purdy was there. There was a whole. I mean, my dad. He was. We were in People magazine. People magazine did like a thing on us. We were like doing apparently great, even though our personal lives were falling apart.
Yeah.
And my family. But Bernard Purdy was there at the same day that Miles was there, and I just did an album with Bernard Purdy. Who's
Wow.
one of my he's the most recorded drummer in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he played with Elvis, the Beatles, Aretha Franklin, Rolling Stones, Bob Marley, and my dad. And that's how the connection happened, because he says, I'm only doing this album for you because your father and I. I said, hey man, but when you play with somebody like Ernie Durawa,
Yeah.
who is a master drummer of all styles,
Let's go. Yeah.
they give you so much confidence
Yeah.
as a singer and a soloist
Mhm.
that they've got me. They got my back.
Oh, dude, I love to hear that.
That is exactly, it's about trust.
Yeah.
In this crazy world, who can you trust? I can trust my wife with my life.
Yeah.
But there's very few people. But Joe Louis Walker, for example, he was a hero and mentor to me. I played with him for 25, 30 years, like as long as I've been playing with Ernie.
Uh-huh.
And he was very serious about his music. He accepted people, but he said, don't mess with the music. The music is number one.
Mm-hmm.
I just did some Zoom calls with some Ukrainian high school students.
What was that for?
Well, I speak Russian. I studied Russian,
Okay.
and I've been there, and I hate war.
Right.
And the day the war broke out, I wrote a song called Ukraine War Cries, and Ernie and I played it that night, and somebody videotaped it and sent it to me. This was the day that the war broke out. It was like 5 years ago or something, 4 or 5 years ago. And I sent it to President Zelensky, president of Ukraine.
Oh, wow.
On his Twitter or Instagram, I think it was.
Uh-huh.
And he gave it the thumbs up within 2 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. And so there's a college professor in Colorado, and he speaks Ukrainian, and he knows me from back east in New York. And he has been arranging these Zoom calls with these Ukrainian high school students. I just did one. One of the kids had no electricity. He was in the complete dark. They said they cut the electricity.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm willing to go there. They said, well, have you ever done a gig in a bulletproof vest? I said, no, but I would.
Yeah.
And they said, there's no safe place here. I said, well, you know what? There's really no safe place anywhere.
Yeah.
And I said, if you guys are going to be there, I will stand with you. And some people think I'm crazy for that, but I would. I mean, I've played in Beirut, Lebanon, and South Africa, and very dangerous, kind of countries. I mean, I could not go to Lebanon right now.
Yeah.
It's getting destroyed.
Yeah.
I have friends there. I mean, when I went there, I played with a all Lebanese band and Palestinian bass player, and it kind of breaks my heart to see what's happening today. And
wow.
But as a musician, what can we do? We can write songs. Ernie always said, Murali, keep writing songs.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and it's on. We played it, and then I went on and recorded it in the studio, so I'd have a kind of a proper studio version of it. And
both you guys have done a lot with your careers. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, Ernie has Grammy plaques, and he has so many stories. I mean, when you have the experience that Ernie has, he's played with the best, and Ernie is the best.
Yeah, I love to hear that.
I mean, that's why those people, you want to hang out with them.
Well, we were getting to the last, because we mentioned something about Freddie Fender. Do you know any of those guys from the Tornadoes?
I know of them. I mean, I knew Augie and I knew
We were
Speedy and I knew Flacco a little bit,
yeah
but I never met Doug. I never met Freddie.
yeah. Well, I was
But,
ending it
but
on
Ernie, you know, I get the stories from Ernie,
yeah
and they're so amazingly funny.
yeah
You know, uh, there. Let me give this mic back
yeah.
to you, man.
That was great. That was a great interjection.
Do you know Dan Forte, vintage guitar? He
Here.
writes for vintage guitar. He's coming to our gig tonight.
Yeah,
He
be cool.
really wants to meet you.
Well, I know him. I know him.
Vintage guitar.
I haven't seen him in a few years, but yeah, I've known him.
Who's the guy?
several Years.
Dan
Dan Ford. Yeah.
Forte.
Right.
He wrote for Guitar Player magazine, and he's the editor for Vintage Guitar.
Oh, cool.
Magazine, and I think he's going to do like an album review of mine.
That's awesome, man.
Maybe even a feature of it, you know. So we'll try to knock him down.
You got to show him your vinyl. Show him your vinyl record.
You got your vinyl?
He's got a new record that's really awesome.
Woo,
The cover,
daddy.
Yeah.
Cool. I just wanted to end on Augie Myers and Speedy Sparks. Really,
Yeah.
those last two
We're
guys.
over to close to the end here.
Yeah, we're close to the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Augie Myers, man, what was you like? I remember the last time we spoke.
Oh, he's funny, man.
He's
He
a
had lot
real
of
funny
jokes and
guy.
stuff. He
Yeah.
kept us laughing all the time.
He did. He talked about writing a like comedy book.
Yeah, he was. He was a funny guy.
Do you have a CD player?
I
You don't.
don't.
Okay. So that's the album.
You're giving me this?
I'm showing
No.
it to-
Oh, okay. I'm
showing
like,
it
why?
to
you-
you.
Yeah, no, those are expensive.
They're very expensive, and I only brought 10 of them. I've only had 100 made, and there are people that want to buy them, and I'm selling them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
No, sorry. I
I was gonna
mistakenly.
give you the CD, but if you don't have a CD player, but you can listen to the whole thing. You know,
It's on Apple Music.
It's on. Yes. It's
Yeah.
On it's on everything.
Folks, go listen to the Soul of a Nation. Murali Corral. Corryel. Sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing stuff. Murali Corryel, Soul of a Nation.
Yeah.
It's a cool cover too, and you got the Daily News newspaper on there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, you know, I told the people how I wanted the design, and they did a good job. And you know, Ernie and I, the current Texas band.
Yeah.
I really wanted to showcase my
That's a
Texas
cool-
band because we've been playing together.
Yeah.
We had such amazing players, and so I'm so glad that I was able to include, you know, my New York band and my Texas band because it had been 6 years since I had put out an album. And your album took how many years since you started working on it?
Almost 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, COVID just like it's wrecked everything. It just put a stop to everything
Yeah.
and changed the world. And it was like, fuck, man. So, you know, we're all making
Well,
the
that's how the
adjustments.
book happened. You know, during COVID.
During COVID, you did something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Joe's playing this tonight, by the way.
Yeah, well, we'll get this wrapped up. That
Okay,
was
man.
a great little
Yeah.
interjection there. The Miles Davis story was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Murali, because of his dad, you know, all those guys. His dad played with those guys, you know. And so
Yeah,
they would come to his house and stuff, you know.
that's sick.
So he had a nice upbringing, you know, from being around those monster players.
Yeah, getting held by Jimi Hendrix is crazy. So I mean, we recently lost the, you know, I mean, I consider him a Texas icon, Augie Myers.
Oh,
He
yeah,
had a lot.
definitely, yeah.
He influenced
Yeah,
like that sound
He
of.
played on some Dylan records, you know.
He did, yeah. He did play
Yeah.
on Dylan records.
Yeah, and John Hammond, and
Yeah.
God, I mean, the list goes on, you know.
I mean, so that song, "Hey Baby, Que Paso," that is definitely the most famous Texas Tornado song.
Probably, I mean, they're always recognized.
That's
by
like
that
because
song.
I'll come up to that song. It's like that's like my walk up song.
Oh, we did another song too. I have a video of it, which I played on called Guacamole. He did that
Yeah,
one. That's a funny one.
Guacamole.
Yeah, yeah.
He kind of writes these like funny little.
Yeah, little. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not like, you know, they're not like these.
People love them anyway.
They
go
love 'em.
crazy over it,
Yeah.
you know.
Like "Hey Baby, Que Paso" is like, that's
I'm
my.
going to show you when we're done here. This video, I have this cowboy singing that.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
You said you played that song a million times, right?
A few.
Yeah. Well,
Few times.
the funny the funniness of Augie Myers. There's a Live from Las Vegas album or recording where Augie is the introduction to it. He talks about, he's like, this is a sad song that I wrote about my girlfriend.
Ran off with my best friend.
Yeah, and he goes,
I miss him.
I miss him. Yeah,
Yeah.
but thank the good Lord
The one I
for good
heard,
friends, because they come in handy
yesterday-
when you need them.
We call them Augie-isms.
Augie-isms.
Yesterday I heard one, and this guy said that Augie was on stage,
Uh-huh.
and this couple, they had just gotten married, right?
Yeah.
And they walk up to Augie, and they go, "Hey, Augie, we just got married." And then he goes, "Well, what are you doing here?" I know it, man. He's really fast, you know.
That's awesome, man. I love that.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, I'm in, you know, I'm gonna miss the trade, just the heck out of him. you know.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's like a family member, you know.
Yeah.
All those guys were like my family because
Yeah.
we lived together, you know, touring in Europe and in 2 vans and stuff, and then we lived together on our tour bus
Mhm.
that we had, you know. We used to lease Willie's tour bus, his old bus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we toured. And the bus would pull up in front of my house, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Big old tour bus would pull up in front of my house.
Yeah.
And my neighbors would go like, "Who's there? Who's that? It's a tour bus there. It's in front of Ernie's house, you know."
That's Willie's old tour
And
bus.
they would pick up and yeah, because he had the big. It's a beautiful bus.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is
I'd
it
load the
Honeysuckle
bus.
Rose or no?
Yeah.
Is it the Honeysuckle Rose or no?
No, I don't think. I don't know. It was. It was. It had the big mural on the side.
The horse?
I think it was. Yeah.
Two horse?
I actually I'll have to pull out the picture. It's on my phone. So I
Wow.
have to find it.
I'm not mistaken if that might be Honeysuckle Rose.
It's on my phone.
Okay.
I'll try to find it here in a second.
Speedy Sparks, man.
Yeah, well,
He's a guy that, like, he's kind of in the shadows a little bit,
he
but
was my roommate on the
Yeah.
road, and he was we call it the food connoisseur. You know, he was very picky about what he ate. You know, he always wanted to eat fancy restaurants, great food. You know,
He was a big
you would
foodie.
never find him at a Taco Bell or anything like
yeah.
that. You know,
Shit, not gonna hit the road with
I
me.
really miss Sweetie Man. Him and I were really close. I mean, we were the rhythm section. You know.
Yeah.
Him and I were so tight together that half of the time I didn't even know he was there. It was just like we were just one. We were just like one. You know,
Mhm.
that's how tight we were. And not only on stage but off stage, he would call me on the phone or something. And I mean, I have on my phone. I'll play you some. I have several of his voice messages that are still on my phone,
Oh yeah.
and I saved them
Yeah, they're just funny.
because they're funny.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I mean, and you know what's mind blowing is that him and I went to San Antonio to speak at Flacco's memorial.
Yeah.
You know, and then a few weeks later, I'm speaking at Speedy's memorial.
I know, it's kind of crazy,
so that
right?
kind of blew my mind. You know?
Yeah. I know, man.
And now that we lost Augie, and you know, it's been hard. You know.
I feel for you, man.
So, and that's just like the whole band is practically gone. You know.
Yeah.
But the music will live forever.
It will.
The music will live. It's the legacy. You know, the music is going to go on.
Well, buddy,
I still hear Que Paso. I'll still hear.
I'm telling you, I pushed that song. I put everybody on the Tornadoes in this for Douglas Quintet.
Right.
I really do. My nephew, he's 7 years old. You know,
Yeah.
asking, every time I play a song, he's like, "Is this the Texas Tornadoes?"
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
That's so true because that's what blew my mind about. Because people like we go into Germany and all these places, and I mean I heard people playing Que Paso like in the German.
really.
You know, or oh, like that. Hey, that's Que Paso, man. You know, but I don't understand what they're saying, but that's the song. I
Wow.
can understand the melody, right?
That's great.
And yeah, it's pretty incredible when you think about it. And then little kids would come up. Little
Yeah.
kids love it.
Yeah.
You know, to cowboys, like I'm going to play you in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You just name it. Everybody, that song kind of captured. I even have a copy of a guy that's he looks like Snoop Dogg
Uh-huh.
singing it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a Snoop Dogg lookalike.
Oh, wow.
It looks just like Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
singing it. I got to show you these videos in a
Hell
minute.
yeah. All right, Ernie. Well, we'll put a cap to it, man. There was one thing I wanted to ask you before we go, because Towns Van Zandt is another big fan of mine. You
Yeah.
recorded an.
I did.
Did you met Towns?
I did.
Yeah. What was Towns Van Zandt like?
Well, we were in the studio. I did an album, or some cuts on an album.
Texas Rain. It was
Texas
like
Rain.
a collection. And
That's
Doug's
right.
on it. Augie's on it. Flacco's on
yeah.
it. Freddie's
Do you
on
have a copy of that record or what?
it. I mean, I just find it on Apple Music
Yeah.
now.
They misspell my last name. They call me Ernie Durawa. instead of Durawa, but
Yeah.
that everybody knows that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it was really cool because I was able to do, I would think one of his first versions of Pancho and Lefty.
Yeah.
I played on that, but also, and Freddie singing the Spanish verse on
Yes.
that song,
Mm-hmm.
and Doug's playing the bajo sexto. He
Oh,
plays a
wow.
little bajo sexto, which is that Mexican
Yeah.
string guitar. Yeah, and there's a lot of different artists on that record as
It's a
well.
crazy one. Yeah.
It's a great album.
It's a really good
And
album.
so, and being in the studio with Towns,
Yeah.
we greeted each other. We spoke a little bit, but I ended up doing around 18 tracks on that album. But I think that only so many got released. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many, maybe 10 or 12
Yeah.
were released. So there's a bunch of other tracks on there that I don't remember exactly what was used and what wasn't used.
Oh, okay.
The producer was from New York,
Yeah.
and it was on Tomato Records was the label.
Okay. I thought it was Texas Hill Country Recordings, but maybe
Well, it could be. Who
I don't know
knows?
what the
Yeah,
difference of the
but I
label.
remember the producer was Tomato.
How old was
Records.
Towns at the time?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I mean,
I know you. We
he
got to.
looked like he was in good shape and stuff.
Isn't it kind of crazy though that like, so Towns Van Zandt, a notorious like, just a guy who.
Well, you
just,
remember the other guy,
wino.
Blaze Foley?
Yes.
He used to walk past my street here.
Blaze Foley did.
Yeah.
Are you
because he
serious?
was up the street here. There's a drummer friend of mine named Leland Waddell.
Yeah.
He lives maybe 6 or 7 houses
Yeah.
up from me here on the same street.
So you knew Blaze.
And he was really good friends. Well, I didn't know him, but I knew Leland, the drummer, and I would be sitting here sometime, and I'd see, oh, there goes Blaze. He'd be walking past my house. Blaze Foley walking over, and I knew he was going to Leland's house. Right?
Man, Blaze has some of that song that he recorded at the Austin Outhouse.
Yeah.
The tears can't help but just come out of my eyes
Yeah.
on his.
I mean,
does
this whole
some-
town and this neighborhood here there's recording studios.
Yeah.
Up this studio up the street here.
Yeah.
Cedar Creek. It was called Cedar Creek.
Uh-huh.
It's got a new name now. Cheryl Crow up the street. All these people they go to record there.
Wow.
And
Was this the neighborhood that Ray Benson and because Ray Benson and Stevie Ray
yeah,
Vaughan?
Ray's studio used to be off of Menchaca there
Okay, really?
for a long time, and I went there, and me and Augie and I think it was Sean Som.
Mm-hmm.
We did one track on a Raul Malos record.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another guy we lost recently.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, that big loss.
Yeah.
Great guy, nice guy. Yeah, so we went, and that was done at Ray Benson's studio, and I have it here, and it's a great cut, man. It's a great cut, And so I was honored to say, well, I at least got to do one cut with his album, on his
Yeah.
album, I think it's called Saints and Sinners or something like that. I have it in
Saints
there.
and Sinners.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible.
And he sang it butt off too, and everybody plays.
I love the Blaze Foley story.
Blaze Foley.
I'm glad you brought that. I mean,
He's walking up the street here.
man, I listen to one of his songs almost every day. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
I love his stuff very much.
I swear, man. He would just walk. Oh, there he goes.
Were you-
Let's go into Leland's house.
Because you know how he got shot over by like
No, I heard that happened. I don't know how that.
you.
happened.
Oh, okay, all right.
I have no idea, but that was a tragedy.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure the details of why, for whatever reason that happened.
Man, we'll put a cap to this. 83 years old. What can you give any secret to your longevity or any wise words to?
Well, yeah, I think that just don't abuse alcohol, don't abuse drugs. In fact, just don't even do it. Either one. I don't. I
Yeah.
do very little alcohol.
Yeah.
Very little. I don't do drugs. I mean, back in my old days in the '60s, I probably did.
Yeah.
Smoked a little weed or something. But all of that's behind me. And exercise. I try to walk 2 miles every day.
Mhm.
When you leave, I'm doing Tai Chi now,
Yeah.
so I'm going to do that. And then you see my exercise back there.
Oh yeah.
So I jump on that, and then I'll do that for 20, 30 minutes, and just I don't always eat the right stuff like I should be eating, 'cause
Right, right.
I still like a greasy enchilada sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
greasy hamburgers and stuff. But hopefully I'm trying to make those changes here.
Sometimes you gotta.
I've been
indulge
looking at
it.
this Mediterranean food that you can order.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking, but I'm wanting to see what that's like. But it might be good for you, you know. I don't
Also,
know.
like your 83 though. It's like, I mean,
Huh?
it's also kind of like your 83. It's like
Yeah.
you can also maybe eat what the hell you want, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Thank God I made it this far. I have no idea. I mean, I always go, well, I'm in the fourth and final quarter here. I'm not sure what lies ahead. Because every time I pick up the paper, I see something. He goes, oh, so and so died, and he was only 70, and
Yeah, it's
not
crazy.
very many guys make it even to 80. And
No.
and that's the sad part about Speedy. Man, he was 79.
Yeah.
He almost made it, and we had already talked about, hey, what we're going to do for your 80th birthday. Because he came to mind, and he played at my 80th birthday.
Mhm.
And Delbert McClinton flew in from Nashville and
Mhm.
sang at my birthday. But and we wanted to, wanted to celebrate with him,
What
and
takes you guys? Is it just heart attacks? Usually, was it a?
I don't know. I think he had, not even sure. He may have had some kind of cancer or something.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know, and I don't think he knew he had it. Because he sure went fast. He
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, I went over to the hospital and I sat there with Nancy,
Yeah.
his lady, and yeah, it just I don't know, man. I can't believe it, because he was a great guy, just very well loved. We've done several tributes for him around town, and just the other day, about a week or so ago, they did city council did a proclamation
Mhm.
over at Saxon Pub.
Yeah.
And then it was Speedy Sparks Day,
Oh,
and that was about a week ago. And then I'm doing one on the 26th of March also.
fantastic.
Yeah, that'll be one. And mine is going to be at the actual city council,
I love that.
and Murali's going to play. We just go play one song,
Yeah.
and we do the proclamation thing, but. And that's about it, man.
Yeah.
Just doing what we do, and hopefully, we're lucky. It's beautiful weather, and we're gonna play. We're playing outside tonight, so
Fantastic.
yeah. And thank you for coming by
Thanks,
and
buddy.
doing this.
Yeah, you're an icon, man. Thank you very much.
All righty,
All right.
goodbye.
Peace.